So, we have two remakes of Oblivion, potentially both coming out this year, maybe one next year, maybe one this year. We have Skyblivion, which the path to release, they've been saying that they think it's definitely a 2025 release. If you go in here and you take a look at, for example, the landscaping, and it's pretty much the same with everything they've done in these most recent videos. They're pretty much there. They're very close on all these. It's the same for quests, it's the same for the 3D models. So it's seeming very likely that those guys are going to be able to get this out for 2025. I know a lot of people kind of know about Skyblivion, but they might not know the details. And if you want to go look up this channel, I'll be showing some other clips from these in this video. But it is crazy how good of a job they've done, and completely for free. It's just a community working together, and it's unreal how good this looks. There's a whole bunch of things that I can show you in this video, but there's so much on that channel. I'd really suggest going and checking it out yourself. And then, in juxtaposition to that, we have a Bethesda remake. Not an official release of that yet, not officially confirmed. However, there's been a whole bunch of leaks of it. And something that Todd Howard once said in an interview fairly recently is that he'd like to do like a surprise release of a game where he kind of announces it, and then a few weeks later, a month or two later, the game just comes out. And I think if they're going to do that with anything, a remake of Oblivion would make the most sense. So I think it's very likely that we either see them both this year, or like I say, within a similar time frame at least. If I was Bethesda, I'd do one of two things. I would either intentionally try and rush it out and hope to beat Skyblivion so that the hype doesn't die out because people have already played it, or let people play Skyblivion, let your own product bake for a lot longer, make sure it comes out in a good state, because so many games don't nowadays. And then people can kind of get hyped up for it while they play this, leave it a year so they're still looking for something else, and then there you go, you have it released. All of the people who are on console aren't going to be able to play this anyway, and probably a lot of people on PC won't, because they just won't be able to get access to it. So I think that's what they do, rather than releasing them around the same time. I'm assuming they'd be keeping an eye on this, since it is a pretty major thing. If I had to guess, that's what I'd say. But since they are both going to be coming out within the same time frame, and it's crazy that we're getting these two Oblivion remakes like so close together, one from fans and one more official, although it might not be actually Bethesda themselves making it, but I'll go into that later. I thought I'd go through details for both of them. I have loads of details for Skyblivion, way too many to go through in one video. As I say, you should really go and check them out yourself if you're interested. It's fascinating, but I'll cover some of the things that I think are important in this video, and then I'll go through what little we have about the Bethesda remake, and kind of just talk about how they might affect each other, what I think about them, and all that kind of thing. So, we'll start with Skyblivion. It's actually surprising for Skyblivion how much they have changed in it. When I was first seeing it, I thought it was just kind of going to be, yeah, they're going to remake Oblivion, but put it in Skyrim, whatever. But they're actually changing a lot. And as you go through it, and if you listen to the live streams, the Q&A, all of the improvements actually seem really good. So the dungeon designs, which is something that I said wasn't the best in my previous Oblivion video, it looks like they're completely changing it. I'm not sure if they're changing it for every single dungeon or just the ones that are more main quests, but one dungeon that they went through in the most recent live stream was one for the Fighters Guild, and it was completely overhauled. It wasn't the same at all. So I think we're going to see a lot of improvements there. It looks a lot better. You can't do much worse, since a lot of the old ones are basically just the same thing over and over anyway. But like, if you look at these here, you can see on the screen now, they're not the same as they were in Oblivion. So I was just thinking it was going to be a boring old let's keep it faithful, but they're actually going into it a lot more and making some good changes, and it's the case for quite a few things. They've said that in with the regards to the Oblivion gates, although they are remaking them as they are for now, they said that they might, if they get time, add in some extra ones so there's more variety, so you can go into an Oblivion gate and it might be a completely different setup than you're used to. I think that'd be awesome if they're able to add that, if they do get the time, but obviously they're already doing so much work and completely for free that I'm not so sure it'll happen. Or it might be something that happens after the fact. Maybe if they ever decide to remake some DLC, they could do that. I'm assuming once it's released, it'll get so much attention that they'll have more people wanting to help them, they'll have more volunteers. Another thing they've said they're changing, this reminded me on screen now, they're changing the looks of some of the bosses so that they look a bit more interesting. Mankar Cameron, for example, they said not only are they going to change the way he looks, but they're going to change that. Look at how amazing that looks, by the way. Like, holy shit, they have done such a good job of these changes. These designs are incredible, how well they've done. And if you see on this next one here, the goblin actually has her tits fully out, nipples and all. Probably going to get banned for even showing that. I'm surprised they haven't. I guess you're allowed goblin titties, they're fine. But yeah, they also said they're going to change the boss fights mechanics so it's more involved as well. They've changed a whole bunch of the items, the unique items. They've made them all so they actually are unique. One they showed off was the the Kvatch cuirass that you get at the end of the main quest for Kvatch, and they've made it so it's like got some blood on it and it's like burnt up, so it looks a bit more used. And they said they've done that the same for all of the unique items. They actually have a unique look now as well, which is absolutely great, an amazing change. And the dungeon changes I especially appreciate. That's going to be so nice. Another thing that they said they changed is the cities. They spoke about changing Anvil, and they said even though it's been changed, they've done it according to the concept art. They've like filled out more of the areas around it and changed the city itself, but it's still kind of faithful when you think about it, because it's according to the concept art, so it's how it should have been in the first place anyway. Really looking forward to that, exploring some of these cities. They showed the walk into Shaden Hall as well, and they've kind of changed where some of the things are, so it's more impressive. As you first walk in, you see like the chapel down the alleyway. I think a lot of good changes they're going to make. They really know what they're doing, and they're really passionate about the project. A lot of the things that aren't in... Look how nice that armor looks, dude. Like, it's such a good job. They're not even just importing the armor from Skyrim. They've redesigned it. I think they said they had to. Legally, to get it released, they had to completely remodel every single asset. But a few things that are in Oblivion that aren't in Skyrim, and they've done changes for. You saw one earlier, I'm not sure if you noticed it, but the giants have been reskinned, so they're the ogres. So the ogres that you fight in Oblivion will instead be giants from Skyrim, or they'll feature the same but have that different look. So like with the potato snatcher, it would be a giant that's now an ogre, and the same with the goblins are like the Felmer, and that works kind of well. So just reskin some of those things instead of having to make whole new ones. I think that's a really good idea, and that'll work perfectly for both of those that have been mentioned there anyway. I think the boars though, they've completely made from scratch. I don't think there's anything from Skyrim that they've just reskinned to be a boar. I think that's something they've made entirely themselves. But like if you look here, for example, this is the dungeon I was talking about earlier, the Fighters Guild one. If you go into this same dungeon, it's getting the armor so you can give it to a woman so she can pay off her debts. It's a fairly early quest within the Fighters Guild. If you go into this dungeon in Oblivion, it is not the same even slightly. It's completely different in this. And the skeletons, some of them they've like remade so they can be like Argonians and orcs and stuff. You can see they have a tail or they have like a different face. So a little bit of flavour there as well. A lot of really good updates to it. So let's move on to talking about Bethesda's one. Again, not really too much to say about it because it's all leaks, but there's kind of some things that you can guess towards it. What I mentioned earlier is that it probably isn't going to be made by Bethesda. One of the main leaks, and what seems likely anyway, even if it wasn't for leaks, is that it's going to be made by Virtuos Studios. Makes sense for them to put it out to them. I really don't know what it's going to be. If it's going to be a full remake and it's just going to be Oblivion worked from the ground up, or if it's going to be more of a glow up. I don't know how many things they'll change because it's Bethesda, like an official one from them. Even if it's made by Virtuos, obviously it's still an official thing. They might take a few more liberties and change up some of the things, maybe add in some more options for the quests so it feels more open worldy and feels more RPG-esque. I'm not so sure if they will or not. If I had to guess, I'm a bit of a cynical asshole. If I had to guess, I would think cash grab. I imagine a lot of people would agree with me. Hopefully it's not. Hopefully they really go into it and make it great, but like I don't even know how much it's going to cost, but you would think the thing to do is, right, that's it, fucking full price, people are going to be paying like 70 quid, $70 for this, and then just glow up Oblivion, we don't even need to change much. You can see it happening, right? Hopefully not, as I say. Might find out that that's not the case and it has been redone completely. That would be awesome, especially to have that and Skyblivion. You wouldn't fucking ever stop playing Oblivion for like the next 3 years. It'd be crazy with both of them in conjunction with each other. But we'll really have to see with that and see what Virtuos Studios, if they actually are involved, because that was only a leak. That's not confirmed either. Pretty much nothing is confirmed for it. Get out of here. But yeah, leaks say it's coming in June. Is it actually though? We'll find out. Like I say, Todd Howard did say about doing a sudden reveal and then release. So, could potentially be the truth. There was just something else I wanted to go into with regards to Skyblivion that I forgot to mention. The whole new system that they've got for leveling up. I think it seems like a really good change to me, but maybe some people won't like it and they'd rather the original Oblivion one. But the leveling up still works like Skyrim or Oblivion, where you kind of get your skills. You know, you get your light armor up, you get your one-handed up, and eventually you level up. You still have to go to sleep, but instead of your skills leading to increases in your attributes, it works more like Fallout's leveling up, where you get a specific amount of points. I think the one that they show is you get like 7 when you level up, and then you can put them into your attributes as you please. You can get +5 at max, and then you can just spread out 7 between them. I personally prefer that. I think that will work better. It will just make it nicer to play. I know some people won't think that. However, I think for like the general audience. It's nicer to just have those points that you can allocate freely, as opposed to thinking about, oh, I've got to increase this, I've got to increase that. Really nice whole UI layout, by the way. They've done a really good job of this. I think everything looks perfect. Yeah, here we go. They're showing it. You can spend 7 points across 3 attributes. So I think that's a good change to the leveling up system. I'd like to know what you think about these. I'd like to know if you think, which one are you more excited for? You know, would you rather Skyblivion? For me, that's the one I'm more excited for, just because even if there was a whole bunch of details for the Bethesda one, you know, you could say that Skyblivion's more exciting because we actually have details for it. I just genuinely think it'd be better, even if we knew very little about them, because it's made by passionate fans who really care about it, and the detail is just going to be better. It's going to be a more interesting thing to play through, I think, than just some kind of corporate remake of Oblivion. But let me know what you think. Which one would you prefer? Maybe, you know, if you're on console, you're probably not interested in Skyblivion at all. Maybe you still are. Maybe you'd like to watch it. But realistically, if you're on console, you're only going to be playing and paying for a actual official remake that could be coming out later on than this, or potentially in June. Or there's probably a lot of people out there who maybe just think, go away, like, leave it alone. There might be people out there who don't like either of these. Maybe they'd be happy with the fan one. I can't imagine anybody being too salty about that, especially since they're not even trying to make money out of it. They're not even taking donations. You try and donate to them, it just goes to charity. Believe it's Make-A-Wish. So they're doing it completely for free. However, with regards to Bethesda remaking it, or Virtue Studios remaking it, whoever you want to say is doing it, there may be some people, especially more die-hard fans of Oblivion, who aren't happy with the way Bethesda have been recently, and they just think, fuck off, leave my game alone, it's fine as it is, any changes I want to make to it, I can mod it myself, you don't have to get involved. So let me know what you think. But people are probably going to be quite split on that. I personally am happy to see it. I like the idea of getting an official remake, even if it's shit. It'd be interesting to see. I don't think it'd kill the old game format. You can always just choose to ignore it, right? Although it does put a bit of a stain on it. But Skyblivion, I really think is incredible, and I think that most people would agree. If you go to this channel and go and watch all the updates, like, look at how nice that glass armor is. That is so well made. It looks absolutely incredible. The detail is just insane. I can't wait to actually play it and see how good it is. It's hard to tell yet. You know, during the whole live stream and the Q&A, obviously this is like a specific half an hour they have mapped out. They do this this Fighters Guild quest, and then they do the famous one of going into the painting. So this is in the painted world here, I believe. Oh, they're out of it now. Yeah, this is in here, fighting the painted trolls. So it's hard to tell what the full game is going to look like, but I mean, it can't be too much different to all of this if they're just, if this is what they're doing for this section, there's no reason for them not to do it for the rest of them. You can see there's still some bugs there, you see why it's not fully released yet, and it'll probably come out with some bugs, and you know, that's fair enough. So did the original game, you know, so does everything nowadays, but for it to just be a fan project, you've really got to let them have it. So yeah, let me know what you think in the comments, I'll be interested to see. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Please go and check out the channel that I'm showing here. I don't know how to pronounce that name, unfortunately. But amazing stuff. Absolutely incredible. Very excited for this to come out. That's it for now. Thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.